Hi there, welcome to HRTV Small Talk. I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Xieli. There's a lot to cover today, so let's get started. Earlier this week, we ran an article about managing your more creative stuff. I think most people know that artistic people have a different process when it comes to work.
Yep.
And it's important to understand and adapt to their styles so you can get the best out of them and as well as reduce workplace conflict.
Yeah, I think it's also important to balance the working style, like you said, because an artistic staff, they can actually work really well with more traditional employees. An artistic employee could, make a project more lively, make it more dynamic, while a more traditional thinker will, rein in all the big ideas, make sure you don't go over budget. So it's important, I think.
Yeah, I guess it's the more creative personalities will give their best ideas as in terms of innovation.
Yep.
So let's say if the company wants a new service or product, I guess that'll be useful.
Yep.
I think like what you said, and I totally agree that how the more traditional thinkers, or would I say would introduce more structure and make sure that the ideas are practical.
Yeah, so I think you need a bit of both. So some of the creative managers that we spoke to, or managers of creative people, said that it's also important to give them space and time to think about their problems, and also give them a lot of breaks so that you don't rush the creative process.
And you got an email, right, about the article?
Yeah, some people were actually saying, "Oh, I wish my boss was more creative so we would get more breaks." Our next story is about how the civil servants' pay in Singapore will not be reviewed with the review of ministerial salaries. However, it could get affected because the salaries of top civil servants are linked to ministers and people in parliament.
Speaking of which, HR professionals are in high demand this year. They are continuing playing a strategic role for the business. According to a Xieli Services survey, more companies around the world are focused on providing learning and development opportunities as well as organizational development.
Yeah, so the report also added that HR's top priorities are on staff retention, succession planning, as well as leadership and skills development. Also, I think we all know this, the workplace is getting more global, so employees are more willing to move to another city or another country to work. Makeup company L'Oreal has a very novel way of recruiting. So what they did is that they had a branding competition for aspiring advertising and marketing candidates. And you attended the finals last week or early this week. How was it like?
Well, it was interesting. First of all, the students had a lot of supporters. So the teams were in groups of threes, and they had to present a business strategy to the CEO, to the HR professional, as well as some industry experts. So some of them were pretty good. They were, I can say that the ideas were innovative, and obviously they tried to. Some of them dressed up, and they really impressed the dress. So I think it's like this bodes well for the future of young talent, or how HR professionals are set to recruit graduates, because this pool of people definitely have the potential to be our future leaders.
That's interesting. I also had a really cool meeting late last week actually, where I met with a consultant who helps you identify the bad managers in your organization and deal with the problem. So she identified two types of toxic managers, the tyrant and the mediocre manager. And she was just sharing about what you can do, how it affects your company, and why it's important to really get into the problem and fix it.
Okay, and she mentioned two types, right? Tyrants and mediocre.
Yeah, so the tyrant would be the bully who would use the company's resources for their own needs, make you do, whatever they want. And then the mediocre ones would do the bare minimum, for work, and then spend all their time with office politics. So neither is good for the organization.
Yeah, so I think the best way, you either provide counseling, but if they can't change, after all, leper can't change his spots, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to, I guess, find a way to
encourage them to
leave for greener pastures.
Yes. So if you want to watch the video for that article, that topic, you can go on over to our blog where we have all the video interviews that we've done and also all the past episodes of Small Talk.
Speaking of which, this is our 20th episode, right?
19 or 20. Yes, I lost count.
Okay, and our last story is a bizarre HR in Germany. sales executives from an insurance firm were rewarded not with additional pay increments, not with bonuses, not with a holiday, or they were rewarded with a trip, but it has some special incentives.
Yes, it ended up being an orgy. What happened was that the top male sales executive from an insurance firm in Germany actually went to a famous Hungarian spa, and there were prostitutes there and women. So the funny bit is that during the party they were allowed to bring the women back to their room and do whatever they want.
PG.
Yeah, so it's interesting, because like you said, why not just give them some money
Yeah.
instead of paying for such incentive trips?
Well, I guess you know how compensation and benefit specialists, they always say, or in fact reward consultants, they always say, tailor your rewards to what your employees want.
So needless to say, all the employees have left the company, but the management actually did not find out till after they left. So again, very interesting story. Well, that's about all the time we have for this episode. Don't forget to get the May issue of the magazine, and our June issue should be coming out in a couple of days, so look out for that one.
Yeah, probably in the first week of June.
And also don't forget to follow us on Facebook for all the latest news and updates, as well as on Twitter for links and more news updates, really.
Yes, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.